Joining us now is Jeff Crouere, broadcaster and commentator. Jeff, great to see you. A bit to unpack there, but first of all, can I get your reaction to those pathetic protesting in New York City now that Stephen Colbert's show has been axed?
I love that one of them was wearing a mask. I thought that was so priceless because, Colbert was the one that was trying to promote the vaccine, and he was the guy constantly saying that we had to mask up. And, he was always pushing the whole narrative that the Biden administration wanted. I mean, as you said, he's only had one Republican guest. I mean, he's just such a tool of the Democrat Party. And that's why these Democrat politicians are so upset. But a study was done of Jay Leno when he was on the air 22 years. And of all the jokes that he did, half of them were Republican and half of them were Democrat, which is why he led in the ratings for 19 years. Now, all of these hosts are just one-sided. All they do is attack Donald Trump and the Republicans. So they say, we don't even want half of America. And that's why I think their ratings are so poor. I mean, Stephen Colbert has less than 1/3 of the audience that Johnny Carson had back in his heyday.
Yeah, no, it's an important point. Look, what do you make of the major networks now mainly ignoring these new revelations released by Tulsi Gabbard? She's, revealed new evidence that the Obama administration manufactured intelligence to essentially push the Russiagate hoax. Are you surprised that now the mainstream networks don't really want to cover these developments?
Well, the mainstream news media just wants to talk about Epstein because they believe that's a way to really topple Donald Trump. I mean, it's all Epstein all the time. And anything that, of course, points a finger at Obama and the setup and the whole Russian collusion narrative, they're not going to touch. I mean, they didn't do it back in 2016 or 17. They're not going to do it now, even though the evidence is overwhelming that there was collusion, not between Donald Trump and the Russians, but between the deep state and Hillary and Obama to try to, of course, subvert Donald Trump's presidency. It was an attack on the people that voted for Donald Trump. They tried to limit his effectiveness, and they really harassed him during the entire first term with all of this nonsense. Now he's learned. He's really surrounding himself with a lot of people that are loyalists that are going to help him with his agenda. So his second term is a lot stronger because he doesn't have this kind of thing hanging over his head.
Let's turn to another issue that's hardly being covered by the mainstream media, and that is the Cincinnati Police Department has now launched an investigation after a group of thugs were filmed beating a man and a woman to the ground. Authorities have charged at least 5 suspects after that violent attack that took place in downtown Cincinnati. Jeff, it's horrific. Why is this not getting the coverage that it deserves?
It's sad. It really should. And I have to say, it could very well be a hate crime. It could be racially motivated. The victims were white. The attackers were black. This is absolutely tragic. You know what's really the worst part about it? You had 100 people that were around. You had people filming. You had people yelling and screaming and chanting and encouraging the attackers. Only one person out of all of those folks called 911. And that just is a real sad indictment of what is going on in some of our cities in the United States. And it's a real challenge for the leaders there in Cincinnati to deal with it. And of course, Harmeet Dillon, the Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, is looking into it as a potential hate crime.